25,000 miles on it now, and my original chain is toasted. It's got some stiff links in it. It's got some rust coming out of the rollers. So ran up to Cycle Gear up here in Allison Park, about 45 minutes away from my house, to grab a chain. Grabbed a chain master link chain tool. Wow, stumbled there. But yeah, I grabbed all the tools to do it, and I just wanted to show you guys a couple different types of chains, what to look for on a chain, how to adjust a chain, and how to do it exactly, or replace the chain. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today, show you guys. I figured I'd just film an intro while I'm out here on the bike, and I'm gonna go ahead and get home, and I will show you everything you know about chains. Ooh, tape power. I'm gonna show you everything you need to know about chains and replacing them and maintaining them when we get back to my house. Right, so it's sometime later. I looked at this Sprocket, and I hate to admit, but there are 25,000 miles on it, so it is pretty banged up. So I just decided, since I'm doing the chain, I was gonna just put a chain on it and see how long it lasted. However, since I spent like 180 bucks on this chain, got a breaker tool, got this RK 525 chain, and I went ahead and ordered some sprockets. Took a little while to get in, so now I finally got the sprockets. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. But yeah, if you change your sprockets, if you change your chain and don't change your sprockets, they're not gonna last nearly as long. They kind of wear together, as you can see. This is an extreme example of it. But I'll pull these off and show them side by side. The chain and the sprockets wear together, so if you slap a new chain on there, it'll wear very fast. Also, bang this up where I crashed, but as you can see, the factory axle has a little notch right there. It says, "I'm in the red." It's worn out. So step number one here, we're gonna go ahead and take this cover and shifter linkage off. So we can get access to the front sprocket. So just remember where the shifter is at before you take it off. And go ahead, we'll loosen this bolt. And I don't think it'll pop off because there's a notch for it. Yeah, the top one has a little notch it rides on, so you can't get it out unless you take the bolt all the way out. Just go ahead and throw the shift linkage down to the side for now. And then this lower cover is, of course, an Allen. 2 bolts. And if I remember correctly, it's a pain in the butt to wiggle out. And mine has this metal plate. I'm not going to take it out because the O2 sensor is attached to it. But that is how you get to the front sprocket. And now for my front sprocket, let's try a 14 millimeter. Yep, that's it. So the bike is in neutral. Of course, I disconnected the shifter, so I have to pop that back on and just get it in gear. So what I'm gonna do is step on the shifter, the brake over here. And now that I'm stepping on the brake and it's in gear, I can get it loose. Ugh. All right, so make sure you get that loose before you take the new old chain off, or else you're gonna have a bad time. Drop your bolt and your body work. And with that off, this will slip out. See how worn the teeth are on this? They're super sharp. See, they're kind of curved over too. So I picked this chain breaker and riveting tool up at cycle gear. Depending how you want to do it, you can use an angle grinder and cut it down at the bottom. Or if you also want, you can go out and buy a tool like this. I figured I'll be doing these doing multiple of these, so I figured I might as well get the proper tool to rivet it. So I have it all set up now, and I'm on the sprocket because I figured that would be the easiest part to do it. Now we're just gonna press this pin out, hopefully. Ta-da! It's off. That was really hard on the tool, I feel. Now that that's off, we should be able to slip this out of here. Ta-da! It's out. So to get the back wheel off, you just crack the nut loose. Take it off. When I take these off, I lay them all in order. So I go all the way from the right to the left, so I don't mix where anything goes up. Make sure you don't lose those washers, because they're very important. And on my bike, I gotta wiggle the caliper out of the way, just like that. The wheel is off. All right, so we're gonna get the sprocket off. Just a 19mm. Be careful you don't cut yourself on these sharp teeth. Oh, that was insanely tight. I was not expecting that to be that tight. Now let's compare. Look at the teeth difference on this. You can see how these ones are all thick at the top, and then those ones are all pointed. So that's the difference between the two. Yep, got the same amount of sprockets, so just double check that, even though it says it was the same. You're safe and sorry to know that they're the same. Alright, got the sprocket all torqued down. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheel back on now. I absolutely suck at this, so you can watch me suffer. Make sure both the spacers are in here. Don't want to forget those or lose them. Tighten the axle up all the way. I'm gonna go ahead and move these adjusters forward again. Since it was worn out, I had to adjust them back, and it won't fit to the factory or the new chain and the factory amount of links. So I'm gonna adjust these forward. Also, if you push the back caliper in like I did, make sure you pump it up. It's not as bad as the front, but it's always sketchy whenever you go to press the rear brake and it goes all the way down and doesn't stop you. So I'm gonna do that right now, actually, before I forget. And it took that many pumps for it to get any pressure. So we got the factory sprocket right here, which says K&A. I have JC front and rear. If you see this one, it has this rubber bushing on here. That's just to quiet the chain down a little bit. You don't need it. The rear sprocket has bushings in it to absorb the shocks, so it's just a lot cheaper and easier to replace it with a full steel sprocket instead of a insulated one like this. So I put a thin little layer of wheel bearing grease on there, heavy duty grease on there, just so there's no metal on metal contact beating up the sprocket or the shaft. We're not going to tighten this up till we get the chain on also, so we can torque it proper. Now I'm going to turn my attention to the chain, and I'm going to go ahead and break this one down. I think it came as a 120 link. How many link are you? I don't know, but I'm going to count it out. This one is not the right length, so I'm going to have to go ahead and break this down to the factory length and then install the supplied master link right here. Okay, after figuring out how this tool works, because it's the first time I've used it, I got the riveting bit in, and this inner one holds the link together tight, and then the smaller thread is going to expand the rivet. So now I got that tight, so it's holding it together. We can go ahead and tighten down the rivet. Head on there. It's pretty ugly, but it's on there. We're gonna back the rivet head tool out, tighten this back down. All right, let's try that. See how this one looks. And this one looks a little prettier than that one. Might have overdone that one a little bit. Okay, so now went ahead and cut the zip ties off. Got the rivets all done. See, the chain's much too loose. Most bikes will say on the swing arm. This one, 1.25" free play. So you want to measure with a tape measure. 1.25", so it's too loose, like I said. So now we're gonna need to adjust this out. Doesn't take a ton of adjustment, as you can see. Literally a quarter turn, it comes up a decent bit. Still too loose. So my bike has these little notches I like to go off of back here like a tape measure. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 notches. So just go ahead and level this side up so I can see 4. So we can go ahead and lock these down. Don't have to be super tight, just snug. Alright, so that's set right there. About 1.25". It's usually where I keep this bike, and when it's happy shifting and everything else like that. So we'll go from there. I'll ride a little bit and I'll readjust it, check it. This white grease that's all over his chain, I'm gonna go ahead and use my chain cleaner and clean it off now. Just so that it doesn't make a mess all over my wheel and everything else. Went ahead and just torqued the front sprocket down. I used the brake like before to hold everything in place. I gotta wiggle this piece back in, which always sucks. Also, whenever you have this off, there's a crap ton of grease usually stuck behind there. It's not a bad time to clean it whenever you have it off. And along the chain guide here, not a bad time to clean it off. Alright, now we can pull this bolt back out. Try to line this back up. I'm sure I won't remember where it was. See if there's any marks where it was. Not really. Way too high. I'll try that one. Also, you can tell mine's bent from where I crashed. I literally have a new one sitting over there, but I haven't put it on. Why? I am not sure. Probably because I like riding this bike more than I like working on it. On all Hondas, these pinch bolts come loose, so make sure you get this nice and tight, but don't snap it. Alright, back in neutral, so I can go ahead and clean the chain. Oh, look at that. That's all back together and cleaned up. Gold chain looks so much nicer. Although my bike is filthy. So I want to show you guys and tell you guys a couple other things. Here's the chain. Chains don't actually stretch. It's gonna be hard for me to show you this. But what actually happens is the pins and the bushings wear out, and that's where you get stretch. Is literally just that there becomes slack in between all of the parts. And excessive play in between all the pins and rollers and everything. And that's where the stretch comes from, not the links themselves actually stretching. And like I showed you before, here is one full link. All this grease that's on the outside is also wrapped around this pin here, and this bushing is filled with it. The O-ring is to keep, wow, my hands are dirty. Putting the O-ring is to keep that factory grease inside of there. Most of the time when you're cleaning your chain, you're just wiping dirt off of it and keeping it from rusting. And cleaning that dirt off is actually what keeps those little bushings in there from wearing out and causing your chain to go bad as well. These O-rings come, actually some come without O-rings, and those are unsealed chains, so you do not want to put those on just because they'll wear out a lot faster. It's a lot easier just to buy a quality chain and do it once and be done with it. So buy a sealed chain instead of an unsealed chain. There's all kind of names for the O-rings. There's X rings, Z rings, all kinds of rings. Pretty much just changes the style of ring. So instead of being a circle, like some might have a little X shape to them, so they're lower friction. As long as you have a good quality chain, usually the more reputable names like RK and DID and everything like that are what you want to stick with for a chain, and you should get some good life out of them. But yeah, that's all. I just want to show you guys, tell you guys those last couple things before I end the video, but I'm going to end it. If you have any questions or comments below, I'll go ahead and answer them like I usually do. But that'll do it for this one.